Everybody. This is Chris Baker, the host of the podcast, Tell Me Your Story. Thank you for watching and listening. And today's special guest is Larry. What's your last name?
Lawrence Thompson.
Lawrence Thompson. And we're going to do like how we always do. We're just going to jump right into this and start from the very beginning. Talk about your childhood.
Okay, well, I was born to Gilbert and Patricia Thompson. They had 3 daughters, and I was the baby. And my sisters always say I got spoiled, but that's not true. But anyhow, growing up, I really didn't have a lot to do because my sisters weren't into like cars and trucks and stuff like that. They were all into the girly stuff. So basically, I stayed to myself, and then I found my best friend, and his name is Joe Statzer. And we've been together since we were 5 years old, and we're still best friends. I did everything with that kid. We were at the basketball court. We were at the baseball field. We played football at the football field. We were just hooked together by the hip. And then my life started changing around when I was about 14. My father passed away when I was 13, and everybody told my mom, oh, he's going to get in trouble. He's going to get into drugs. He's going to, drop out of school. He's going to be in trouble. Well, it didn't, Matthew, hold still. It didn't happen that way. I proved everybody wrong. So when I turned 14, a year after my dad died, my mom had a guy that she was living with, and him and I didn't get along. And he was an alcoholic, kept trying to beat me up and stuff like that, and, like bully me. So I got mad one night and I cracked him across the knees with an aluminum baseball bat. Needless to say, he had to have 2 knee replacements.
Dang.
But I wasn't letting no man bully me because my dad wouldn't have that. So then my mother threw me out, told me to get out of the house. So I had no place to go. My friends, their houses weren't big enough for me just to flop at and lay around at. So what happened was, can you see me?
Yeah.
What happened was after I got thrown out, I lived on the street. I turned 15. I was a freshman in high school. And during the fall time, when people were raking their leaves and stuff, I would lay down on the ground and put the leaves over top of me and go to sleep until daylight. And then I got up. I went to school. I worked.
Hold on, Larry. Your camera got dark. There you go.
There you go, Bob. Right there. I went to school, I worked a job, and I played football. And then I got my first apartment at 15. My mother had to sign for it. The guy said he would rent it to me down on Baker Street, Norwalk. Well, Mr. Wrench, God bless his soul, he rented to me as a freshman. He said, I'm the only kid that's ever had my own apartment as a freshman in high school. And, I paid my own bills. I paid the electric. I paid the rent. I paid everything myself. I worked at Shields IGA for years. All through high school, I bagged groceries. And by golly, I ended up getting out of school, got me a CDL license, drove truck for 30 years. And I've made something out of my life. I mean, I may not be the richest person in the world, but by golly, from where I come from, I have changed. I've done a lot of change, a lot for the better. I didn't let this drag me down to where I was down at rock bottom. I just kept plugging away. When I started working at IGA, I only made $2.95 an hour.
And what year was this actually?
1977, 78.
And you would say that was probably about minimum wage then, or was
that was minimum wage?
Okay.
Yes. And I had to pay rent. I had to pay electric. My rent was $250 a month, and then my electric was like $80 a month, and then I had to buy my own groceries and all that. So it was rough on a 15-year-old being in school trying to raise himself. You know what I'm saying? And I really had hard feelings against my mother for a long, long, long time until just before she passed, and we made amends. But she told me I was the son she always wanted, and I said, well, it's hard to believe because the way I was treated, I would never pick a woman over my kids. I'll tell you that right now. I would never pick a woman over my kids. I've been married twice. My first wife passed away on her 26th birthday. We were together 14 years. She died in 1995, September 9th of 95. And about 6 years later, I fell in love with my second wife, married her. We were together 12 years and we split up. But the kids, I raised two kids that weren't mine blood-wise. They were stepchildren. And I treated them like, they know who their real dad is. I'm the father. And it takes a hell of a guy to be a father to kids that aren't theirs. But I stepped up to the plate. I raised them. My oldest is 23. My youngest is going on 17. They don't get in trouble with the law. None of that. They're respectful. They're very polite. And I'm happy with myself. Even though I never had any children of my own, I feel at peace. I'm happy with myself with what I've done with these boys.
And how old were you when you took care of them? Like what age?
Oh shoot, you would ask me that, Chris. Let me think. My second wife is 16 years younger than me.
Oh no.
I started dating her when when she was 19, so that would have made me what? 35?
34.
Okay, I was 34 when I got with their mama.
No.
And,
You said 15 or 16 years apart.
oh no, 16 years apart, and she was
Yeah, it was
19 when I got
okay.
her.
Yeah, you had it right. 35.
And she had the boy. She had the oldest, and I said, "Look, that's my boy. That's my son." And everybody told her he looks just like you. He looks just like you. And she'd say, "No, that's not his real dad, but that's his father." And they respect me. I mean, they've seen how much I do for them and how much I do for their mama. Because even though their mama and I aren't together, I still I still help her out. I mean, them are my boys, and if she needs any help with them, I'm just a phone call away. That's just the way it is. And the girl that I love now, her name's Melissa, and I met her. Oh, let me think. Your mom and I split up after 12 years. I stayed single for 6 years. That's 17 years ago is when I met Missy.
Wow,
And
that's kind of crazy. Like I think about it, you're 16 years apart from your first, and then not your first, was it your second?
so my first wife, I was 6 years older than her.
Okay, it's a second wife. You were 16,
I was 16 years older than her.
and then you've been with her for 17 now.
I've been with Melissa for going on 14 years now. I mean, we've been together, yeah. April 12th will be 14 years.
Wow.
And I love her to death. I mean, she does a lot. She does a lot of my physical stuff, like when I get sick and I can't get up out of bed and stuff like that. And then I do all her mental stuff. Her doctor's appointments, calling, and stuff like that. Because she can't read and write. So I help her out, and she helps me out by doing the physical stuff,
Yeah.
And I even asked her, and I said, "Do you want me to go in a nursing home? Because I'm sick." And I don't know if you want to be tied down with me, but she's proved to me that she will because she takes care of her mother, and her mother's ill. And she quit doing DoorDash so she could take care of her mother. So, I don't think I'll have a problem with her taking care of me. I think she does a good job. A lot of people see me out in public, but they don't know what's wrong inside of me. You know what I'm saying? You can look at me, you can see me at Walmart like you did today, and you think I'm perfectly healthy, but you don't know what's going on inside my body. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in kidney failure. I have diabetes. I have COPD and asthma. What else? High blood pressure. But people can't see that, you know. They don't know what I feel like. Like I told my girlfriend today, Melissa, my fiance, I said, listen, on the way home, I said, my heart's hurting. The bottom of my heart is hurting. I don't think it's pumping right. You know, so now Monday I have to get a hold of the heart doctor and go see what's wrong because there's something going on. So, and then, you know, as far as my adulthood, yeah, I mean, I'm the type of person that if I have something and anybody needs it, whether it's a stranger, a family member, if you need help, all you got to do is ask me and I'm a phone call away. If I have it, you'll get it. I mean, if you need, let's say you need $20 and I got it in my wallet and you say, man, I'm really down. I need $20. I won't hesitate. I'll open my money bag and hand you the $20. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am. You know?
And that's the person to be.
I've helped raise my nephews. I have a nephew that's, how old is Missy? 48. My nephew, I got a 48-year-old nephew that I raised him since he was 9 years old. Because his mother was an alcoholic and diabetic, and she died at the age of 39. So he was living underneath the park bench out in Phoenix, Arizona, and my first wife told me, we're not having that. We're going to get a plane ticket, put him on it, and have him flown to Cleveland, and we're going to pick him up. So we did, and he was with me from the time he was 9 years old till he became an adult. And now his girlfriend down in Canton won't let him talk to me. She doesn't like me because she says I'm too opinionated. But if it has to do with my family and he's an alcoholic and he's dying, he's got liver problems, you bet your butt I'm going to be opinionated. That's my family, man.
Yeah.
And she doesn't like it. So he's not allowed to talk to me, call me, nothing. And I'm sorry if I'm that way, but hey, that's the way life is. I'm not going to watch my, you know, I have no family. My immediate family's gone. My mother, my father's gone. All three of my sisters are gone. My nephew's the only actual family member that I have left. I have nephews and nieces, you know, but I'm talking immediate family. And I have Melissa's family, you know, I know they love me. Sometimes it hurts when you don't have immediate family, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See, like having like somebody else's family loving you and having your own immediate family that is all gone, it's not the same, man. You know, it's just not. And a lot of times I don't know, a lot of times I have a broken heart, you know. And I think that's the reason. Huh?
I'd say kind of like, I mean, I think the listener or watcher can kind of, you know, other people can relate, but this is, you know, kind of describe it a little bit, just how it really feels. It's not having your father, your mother.
It's lonely. It's very lonely. You know, I can't call my mom and say, hey, Mom, I love you. Because, you know, when I was growing up, my father worked 12, 14 hours a day because it was back in the Depression, back in the 60s. And I was a mama's boy because mom was at home all the time taking care of us kids. So I was a mama's boy. And then when my mom, okay, the guy that my mom had living with her was my dad's brother. I don't like to tell people that because it doesn't look very good. And it really bothers me. But he more or less, he looked a lot like my father and he tried to be my dad. And I said, look, you'll never be my dad. My dad's buried in ground. You'll never be my dad. So, you know, I have a lot of hard feelings about that. And it was rough because once my mom kicked me out, I had no more mom, you know. She never called me and checked on me. I was living all by myself. I mean, it's like she didn't even care. It was all about him. And so now I look back on it and it's like, it's lonely, man. I can't call my mom and say, hey, Mom, I love you. I need some advice, you know. I can't call my dad and pick up the phone and say, hey, Dad, you know, you missed all my touchdowns and all my home runs I hit and stuff, and I don't know. Sometimes it just eats at my heart,
I
and
could
I
imagine. Can you?
and that's why I said I would never ever put my two boys, which I call them my boys. Them are my two boys. I don't care. I don't do that step thing. They're my kids, and I've raised them to be great young men, and I'm very proud of myself for that because I always said I'd never put my boys or my kids in what I went through, and I've never put them boys. I waited till them boys were basically grown up, and their mom and I had a falling out, and we couldn't stay together because we had differences. So I was the man, and I packed up and left. But I tell you what, I still took care of the boys. I still paid for their schooling. I bought their shoes. I bought their school clothes. I bought their school supplies. I bought food for them. I never ever walked away from them boys. You know, and their mom and I still talk. I just seen her at Walmart today, and we sat in the aisle and talked. Um, her and I, our differences has nothing to do with these kids, and I'll never ever tell them what our differences are and why we left, why I left. I'll never tell them because I don't, our mine and her differences has nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them to feel that we didn't love them. So
Just really how awesome that is, though, that because a lot, especially now, a lot like they would just, a stepdad would just take off and be like, they're on their own.
right,
And you said no, I'm not doing that. I'm not
right,
allowing that. Even with
yep,
the falling out with the mother and everything, you said these boys are still mine, and that, I
yep.
mean, without a doubt, I just, a lot of respect for you for doing that.
Well, I appreciate that. I not a lot of people tell me that, but them boys know. Them boys know that they're my boys, and that's all they need to know. And they know it. There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. So, but it's rough. It is rough. Like today, they see me at Walmart. I said I'm getting ready to go home and make homemade pizza. Well, we're going too. So they left their mom for the night, and they're at my house. But you know, well, hang on, let me shut this door because I don't want him knowing. It's not okay. My oldest boy is 23. He cannot, hang on, he cannot hold a job. He has, um, what's that called? It's not autism. It's a thing under autism, Asperger's. My oldest has Asperger's. So he can't concentrate and be in one spot very long. Well, he's worked at just about every fast food place in Norwalk, but
Hey, hold
he
on, hold on.
walks up.
Kind of describe, just in case whoever's watching, listening right now, kind of describe what Asperger's is, so that it can understand a little better.
Asperger's is just like basically like autism. You don't have a very long attention span. You can't concentrate on stuff. You go from one thing to another, and you job hop, and he has panic attacks and all kinds of stuff. So I more or less take him under my wing, and he door dashes with me, and I pay him, and I give him $25 a day for coming out there with me. That's $150 a week, but I give it to him because that's my boy. I got to take care of him. I mean, he's not. How do I want to say it? He with having Asperger's, he doesn't like having a boss over top of him telling him what to do.
As most of us
But
do.
but if I'm over top of him and I'm his boss, he's okay with that. Because I'm not demanding. You know what I'm saying? Like at a fast food restaurant, look, you got to do this, and you got to get me this, and you got to do this, and you got to make that burger, do them fries. And he can't do it. He just can't do it. So he's tried several jobs. He's worked at Borgers in Norwalk. They were paying him $18 an hour, and he had a panic attack on the line, and they had to bring an ambulance in, take him out of there. So they fired him. So.
See, my
But
only question about this though is it's good right now, but like say when you're out the picture, what is he gonna do then? Are
see
you
that?
trying to prep him up and train him to that point, or what do you?
Yeah, yes, yes. That's what I'm doing. I'm Matter of fact, he's wanting to get his own place, and I'm glad for him. But okay, I'm fighting for him to get his Social Security
Okay.
because he can't work. So and he's got I forget what that's called, psoriasis all over his feet, his hands, his arms, his legs, and they've given him everything on the market and can't get rid of it. And he can't stand for long periods of time because that stuff on his feet hurts. So I'm getting ready to hire him an attorney to fight for him to get his Social Security. So that way I can, if they, get it, I can help set him up with an apartment, watch over top of him. That way when I'm gone, he knows what to do. So I'm trying my best. Tomorrow I'm calling around getting an attorney for him, and then he gets the Social Security, and I'll probably have to be his payee, either his mother or I. So, because he doesn't realize the value of a dollar. He really doesn't. Like, I pay him $150 a week. He goes and buys a $150 pair of Nikes. I mean, there's other things you need besides a $150 pair of Nikes that you don't wear because you don't want to get dirty. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I'll admit it. When I first got out of high school, I was in the same boat. Buying them Scottish shoes, man. Looking back at it though, I was like, I wish I would have knew better.
But I'm teaching them right from wrong, and I know my mom and dad would both be proud of me, and they would love my kids. They'd love my boys. I mean, they know who their dad is, but they call me their father because I've always been there for them. And at Christmas, if I get choked up, I'm sorry, but at Christmas, their mother gave me a gift from them boys that says, "Thank you for being the father that you didn't have to be. You are number one. You're the best." And that thing stays in my van with me 24/7. I don't take it out. When I'm working, it's with me. And, that's the kind of love that they have for me, them two boys.
Without a doubt, though, you deserve it. Because, like I said, you're doing something a lot of people wouldn't have done. That would have stepped away, and that is an honor and a privilege to know a guy like you that does that, and how awesome that is, and that you even now that you still keep on doing it, and you still proceeding to educate them and help them better their lives, and that's incredible, man. Keep it up.
I appreciate it. I don't get told that very often, but I appreciate it. But deep down inside, I I I know I've always been there for them, and I'll always be there for them till death do us part. That's just just like a marriage. When I marry somebody, I really take them vows to heart till death do us part. And my first wife died on her 26th birthday, and we were together 14 years. So,
In
and then
in her honor, can you kind of describe your first wife and tell us a little bit more about her?
she was a sweetheart. I was 6 years older than her. What happened was, you want me to start from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay. I was a senior in high school. She was a freshman. I played football. She was a cheerleader. And I was best friends with her brother.
Wow.
And her brother found out that I was about ready to lose my apartment. And he talked to his mom and dad, and they let me move into their house.
Wow.
And after I was there for a while, her and I fell in love. So I went to her father and I asked him permission to marry his daughter. And he said, "Yes, you are a good man. You can marry my daughter." So I did. And then it went from there. Then let me think. We were together for 7 years. And then just before, I don't know, it was around my birthday in August. She wasn't feeling good. It was like she had a cold, and she was fatigued and she was tired. I said, "Look, you've taken every over-the-counter medicine you can take for a cold. I got to get you to a doctor." Well, when I got her to a doctor, they found out that she had viral cardiomyopathy. And that is something that attacks, it's a virus that attacks your heart. And the only cure for it is a heart transplant. So I made that girl a promise, and I told her, I said, I don't care if I have to work 5 or 6 jobs. I don't care. I'm going to take care of you, and you're going to get a heart. I don't care what I got to do. You're going to get a heart. And so they put her on a heart transplant list at the Cleveland Clinic. And 6 months later, on her birthday, I bought her a new van. I took her out to eat and stuff, and she seemed fine. We got home about midnight, and it's Chris. I'm doing a podcast. So we come home about midnight, and I had taken her to the spaghetti warehouse down in Mansfield to eat her birthday dinner. And I let her drive the van home because it was hers. That's why I bought her for her birthday. Well, we got home, and I said, I got to go to the bathroom. And I always watch the news, the 10 o'clock news. She said, honey, are you going to watch the news out in the living room, or are you going to go in the bedroom? I said, oh, I'm just going to sit in my chair and watch it. So she sat down on the love seat, and I'm watching the news, and all of a sudden I hear like that, and she's dead. So I picked her up, and I put her on the floor, and I started doing CPR on her because I knew CPR because I worked at CAC. I drove bus for CAC for the little kids, and we had to have CPR, which that was awesome. I'm so glad I took it because I saved her life for a little bit. Well, I gave her CPR, and I got her breathing, and just before the ambulance got there, she stopped breathing again. And the kid that worked on the ambulance, Rick Shields, I went to school with him. He said, Larry, I'm going to go in and I'll do everything in my power to get her to breathe. Well, he got her to come back around. They took her to Fisher Titus, which is basically right down the street, a 2-minute ride. They got her there, and they ended up life flighting her to Cleveland. So I got my own van, the new one I just bought her, and I life flighted myself. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I didn't care if the cops stopped me or not. I was doing 85, 90 mile an hour to get to her. Well, the helicopter, it only took the helicopter 15 minutes to get from Norwalk to Cleveland, where normally it takes me, well, about an hour and 15 minutes. I was there in 45 minutes. Well, I got in there. My brother-in-law was with me. He's like, Larry, slow down. Larry, slow down. I said, nope. Cop pulls me over. I'm not pulling over till I get to Cleveland. So I got up there to her. I held her in my arms, and she was breathing and stuff. And I said, honey, I got to go home and take a shower. I said, I don't really want to leave you. I said, but I have to. She's like, okay. So me and my brother-in-law drive back to Norwalk, which I did the speed limit that time. When we got back to Norwalk, I didn't even get to jump in the shower. I just started to get in the shower, and my buzzer went off, my beeper. And her mother said, Larry, you need to get back up here right away. Don't even worry about taking a shower, because they're saying that she's probably not going to make it till you get here. And I said, Mom, please just tell her in her ear to hang on, that I'm on my way. And I got up there, and she was laying in that bed. I'm sorry, I know it's been a lot of years, but I've never forgotten this.
It's okay.
And I went over to her bedside, and her family was all around her and stuff, and I put my arm underneath her neck and put my arm around her shoulders, and I picked her up and put her up against me. And I said, baby, if you're tired of fighting and you're at peace, go home and be with the Lord. And she took her last breath in my arms. I put her down, and it was really rough. It was rough. It was very rough. I was 35 years old, and Or no, I was 34 when she died. And it was rough. It was very, very rough. I mean, I love that girl with all my heart. It was like we were high school sweethearts, you know? And if it wouldn't have been for her parents letting me move in their house and be with, because JR, we called him JR, that was her brother. We were good friends in school. And they knew this little young guy didn't have no place to go, you know? So they let me move in there. And I can honestly say, I never did anything wrong. I never touched her in her parents' house or nothing. I never did anything wrong until we were of age.
Wow.
You know, I wasn't like these kids now. Oh yeah, I want to have sex. You know, I know you're only 16, but no, I wasn't like that. I waited until she was of age. When she turned 18, then her parents more or less gave me consent that, you know, that we could do whatever we wanted. We were adults. But that was a rough part of my life, a real rough part of my life. And then I went through, okay, I was only 180 pounds coming out of high school. That was in 1982. Well, in all this stress and tragedy that I had in my life at a young age, I was working a full-time job taking care of 3 sick family members. My sister, which was an alcoholic and had diabetes, died at 39. I was taking care of her. My mother was disabled. I was taking care of her and my wife.
Wow.
And I got so, okay, let me think. My wife died on her birthday, September 9th of 95. My sister died on Good Friday of 95. And my mother died in 2000, December 23rd of 2000. So, you know, I had a lot of stress on me, man. I mean, I was taking care of 3 people that I loved dearly. And my sister that passed away, we were the 2 closest. We were 6 years apart. And we were stuck together like glue. And when she died, that tore part of my heart out, you know? And then I had to pay for her to be cremated because her kids didn't work. They didn't have no money. Her son was an alcoholic. So I had to take care of my sister's funeral, you know. Then I had my mom, I had to take care of her. My wife, I had to take care of hers. I mean, I had a lot of stress on me. And I turned to eating because when I got off work, it would be 7, 8 o'clock at night. And by the time I took care of them 3 people, it was midnight. And I had to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning for work. So I would eat at like 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, get 2 hours sleep, go back to work. So next thing you know, I'm 300 pounds. Over 300. At one time, my highest point, I was 365 pounds, and I said, I can't have this. So I went on a diet, and I lost 80 pounds on my own. I don't know if you ever heard of a supplement, but it's called Visalis.
Yeah.
And it works. It really does work. It curbs your appetite. You drink a shake for breakfast, and a shake for lunch. It's got all your proteins in it, all that. And then I eat a regular supplement. And I lost 80 pounds on it.
Wait, so, what did you say it was called? Just in case, you know, whoever's watching, listening is trying to lose that weight.
Visalis. Visalis. Visalis.
Okay.
And it's a very good nutritional diet supplement. In other words, you're getting all your vitamin A, C, D, B, all that stuff. You're getting all those vitamins. Plus, you're getting like 20 grams of protein. And that's what's good for my kidneys because my kidneys are leaking protein. So I got to keep protein in them so I don't go into stage 4 because once I go into stage 4, I have to go on dialysis. And I'm not. I watched my mother and my sister both die on dialysis. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to put my Melissa through that. I'm not going to do it because the days you go to dialysis, you feel good because they're cleaning your blood. And then the other 3 days, you feel like crap. You got to watch how much you drink, what you eat. And then by the time your treatment comes around, you're so exhausted, you know, you're just weak. You're very weak. And I'm telling you, I used to have to go out to the dialysis center in Norwalk. And my sister was down to about 98 pounds. I used to have to pick her up, set her in the wheelchair, take her out to the car, pick her up, put her in the seat, load her wheelchair up, and then go back and do the same thing for my mother.
Wow.
And I did this all around working because my job knew my responsibility was taking care of my sister and my mother, and I didn't give a doggone about the job. I can find a job anywhere, but I can't find a sister and a mom anywhere. So I told them right up front, either you deal with it until they're gone, or I don't work here no more. It's that simple.
You're awesome,
But
man.
but that's just it, man. And you know, that's basically my whole life story. You know, and I help Melissa out a lot because, like I said, bless her heart, she can't read and write. So I got, you know, and I'm not saying I'm proud of this, but I went and got her a third grade workbook where I taught her how to read. I taught her how to write her name, my name. I had her sit down and I helped her learn how to read a newspaper to me. And she could do a little bit of research. Now she can't, if it's a long, hard word, she might not be able to pronounce it or say it, but I help her out. And, you know, she thanks me for that. She said, Larry, I've never, ever, ever had a boyfriend that cared about me like that. They just didn't give a shit. All they gave a crap about was her check. I'm not like that. I'm just not like that. You know, I want to teach her everything that I can teach her for knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, without a
I mean, I'm
doubt.
not going to say, yeah, I mean, that's just my life. I mean, and
I
you know,
mean,
I feel like that's the kind of life that I would like to see men um, grow up and be like. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah,
from a kid, like a lot of these kids turn to drugs, they turn to alcohol, then they're an alcoholic or they're a drug addict or whatever. I don't want to see that, man. I see good in the kids. I see good in all young kids. I don't I don't see any bad, you know, and I want it that way. I mean, I want them to be good. I want them to grow up and be good, you know, citizens to society, you know,
and
and
how
that's what I,
my question is for you. How is your relationship with God? Do you have, because I mean, you're pretty much living like a Christian. You had the same, everything.
yeah, you know, and I'll explain this to you. Shut that door. I can't have all that noise. Um, if you don't mind, I'm going to speak a little bit about my best friend of 55 years. We've been joined at the hip. I mean, and his parents were a very, very Christian family. And, you know, they're the ones that started me going to church when I was little. My mom would say, if you want to go to Sunday school with them, go ahead, but I'm not going. Because my mom was Italian and my dad was Indian. And, you know, they had their own beliefs and stuff, and they didn't go to church. They didn't like to be pushed on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I would go with his mom and dad and him and his sister, and I loved it. And then all of a sudden, as I got older, with all the responsibilities that I had on my shoulders at such a young age, I just fell out of church. Now, that doesn't mean I don't believe in God. I love God. God's number one in my eyesight. We have a great God. We have an awesome God, and I believe in him. Now,
Keep it
do
up.
I get to go
Keep
to,
preaching.
I don't get to go to church like I should, but my buddy's Joe, his cousin, is a preacher at New London Alliance. And he keeps trying to, you know, give me a nudge and tell me, hey, man, you know, I guess I just work too much. You know, I've been a workaholic all my life. I've worked, I've taken care of sick people. I've lost a lot of loved ones, but I still work. You know, I'm disabled. My knees are so screwed up from playing football that there's nothing they can do for me anymore. And I live in pain. But you know what? I really don't live in pain because when I get pain, I lay in my bed and I pray to God, and God takes it away. God takes my pain away, lets me get a good night's rest, and I get up the next day and I do the same thing. I go out there, I ride in that car all day till my legs are just screaming. And then I come home and I lay down and I pray, and God takes my pain away. I mean, I don't take any kind of pain medicine. The only thing I take is I take Lyrica for my feet because being diabetic, you get neuropathy, and that's not fun. So, but I mean, I don't take any kind of like street drugs. I don't take any kind of opioids, anything like that. I just take, I just pray to God. That's all I do, and I believe in Him. And I told Joe, I've already been baptized and all that stuff. And I told Joe, I said, one of these days, I'll come in that church and you're not going to know about it. I'm going to wheel up in there in my scooter and I'm going to go to that altar and I'm going to ask to be forgiven for anything bad that I've done. Whatever God thinks that I've done bad, I want to be, I want to be cleansed of it. You know what I'm saying? And one of these days, I'm going to do it. I'm going to wheel up in that church in my scooter. I can't get down at the altar because I can't get on my knees. But by golly, I could sit at that altar and ask that preacher and God to forgive me for my sins. And I'm going to do it. I mean, Chris, you see me out there every day. I stay out there 8, 10 hours a day. I don't come home till I make $100 bill. That's just how I am because I got family here to take care of.
I just hear,
Right now,
I'm
right
hearing you.
now,
Hold on, I'm hearing you as you're preaching, and I just keep. I don't know if you listen to any of the worship music, Christian music, but
no, I haven't personally.
I hear this song by Ann Wilson. It's called, I think, called the Sunday Sermons, and it's just, you know, what you're saying, man. I'm just hearing that song playing, and it's just, it's hitting.
I mean, I love God, and him and I do have I mean, I'll tell you, God has saved my life many a times. I was on my deathbed with my kidneys, and He took His healing hands, and He touched upon my kidneys, and He said, "You're not going nowhere. I'm not ready for you. I
Wow.
have other plans for you." And He has saved my life, and that's what keeps me going. I got a niece and a nephew right now that is in foster care. And I'm trying to get temporary custody of them. It's a boy and a girl for my niece. And my heart goes out to them babies, man. I want them babies back in my home. And they're no blood relation to me. It's Missy's niece's kids, but yet they call me Uncle Boo Boo because that's my nickname. They call me Uncle Boo Boo, and they love me like no other kids. Yeah, I mean they look up to me. I do things with them. I love them. And they haven't been here for 2 months, and it's killing me, man. So I got to fill out these papers for the court. I'm going to go through the court and try to get temporary custody of them.
Dude, you are a great dude, man.
That's just me. That's just how I am,
You
They
are
might not
awesome,
be,
man.
they might not be my blood great niece and great nephew, but in my heart, they're mine. You know what I'm saying? Just like my boys. Them are my kids. I love them kids. And I get choked up every time I talk to them. I cry. Because that little girl, there's a little girl, she's going on 6. Her name's Sophia. She'll say, "Uncle Boo Boo, I miss you." And I'll say, "I miss you." She said, "I love you." And I'll say, "I love you." She said, "I want to come home today with you." And that breaks my heart. That just breaks my heart because there's nothing I can do for it.
But the thing is, like, how I'm looking at it is, God's gonna work in your favor because He knows what your heart's about, and you're gonna get them kids. They're gonna be there.
I hope so. I pray to God every night. Missy prays. I pray. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I should go to church. I'm not saying I shouldn't, but I mean, I've got to work, man. I've got to take care of these babies.
Yeah,
I mean,
but you need time. You gotta remember, you need time for yourself.
see, that's my trouble. That's what Missy and we never get to go out on a date night. We ain't been out to dinner in I don't know how long.
You need to take
Because
Sundays, man. Sundays. Go to church. Make Sundays the day. You can work every day throughout the week, but Sundays, you take them off.
I'm gonna
Seriously,
have to.
I'm serious. You have to start doing it. Take Sundays off, go to church, and then take her out. Do stuff with her.
Because I'm gonna be 59, and I know I'm in bad health. I know it, but God keeps me going. That's all there is to it. If God didn't think I was a good man, I wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, and I mean that's what a lot of people understand. They think they're too old. They get to an age where they think like, oh, I'm too old. I'm like, no,
Not me.
no, it
Not
doesn't work
me.
like that. God's in
No.
charge.
And
He's the one that says yes, it's your time. You're on
I'm
God's time.
right. And I'm a Thompson, and my father was Indian. And I'm telling you what, Thompsons don't give up. We do not give up. My dad beat it in our heads that you don't ever give up. And I'll never give up. If I have to go out of this world, it'll be with one heck of a fight.
And that's the thing. It like that message alone. It's like, bam, it's stamped on you because it shows throughout your entire story. Being at a very young age, being tossed out, and have to have your own place at 15 and being able to go bounce that, having your own place and school at the same time. A lot of people don't experience that until they graduate and get to college or even
Right.
past that stage. But here you are, you were accomplishing it. You found your love at a very young age through your best friend. I kind of like hold on, go back just a little bit. How did that happen actually? Because you were really good friends with him. Did it just
Yeah.
one
I,
night you
I
guys just came across each other and started it just
yeah, I played ball with him and stuff. And we were in school together. He was a year ahead of me in high school. So um, when we were younger, like in the eighth grade, his parents lived close to me, my mom and dad, and so I would run down. I grew up on Gallup Avenue, right straight down from Big Lots. You know what I'm talking about? That's
yeah.
Gallup Avenue. I grew up down there in a tan house. After you go over the tracks, there's a tan house that sits there. That was my mom and dad's. And his parents had a house, believe it or not, where the bank sits now down there by Big Lots. Their house sat right there on the corner. It was like a corner. And he was out riding his bike one day, and with me being so friendly, I'd befriend him. I said, "Hey, man, what's up?" He's like, "Oh, nothing." He says, "I'm just out here riding my bike because I'm bored." And he had a tandem. And I said, "Hey, man, let me jump on the back of that." So I jumped on the back of that, and we went riding all over Norwalk. Then we both got passes for the city pool down on St. Mary Street. Him and he had a big family, but him and his sisters, he had like six of them. They would go down the pool. We'd all swim together, and that's how I made friends with him. And then when I got older, and then how I fell in love with his sister was I was living with his parents, and I thought, you know what, this girl's for me, man. This is my girl. I kept saying that to myself, and I'm like, no, that's not, no, that ain't, no. She's 6 years younger than you. That ain't gonna happen. So I let it go, let it go, let it go. And then her mom and dad finally said, you know what? I think Rebecca Lynn's falling in love with Larry. And so I finally come out and asked her. I said, what's going on here? Because believe it or not, I'm the one that taught her how to drive. She
Wow.
was 16 and I taught her how to get her driver's license because I was like 20. So I took her out driving, taught her how to drive and stuff. And then she fell in love with me. And then she told her parents she wanted to marry me someday. And they said, okay, that's fine. And then when I broke down and got on one knee and asked her dad if I could marry his daughter, he said, Larry, I wouldn't want any other man to marry my daughter. You are the greatest, and that's what I want for my daughter. And I promised him, I said, when she got sick, I said, Hank, his name was Hank. I said, let me tell you something. I'm going to fight like heck. And if I can't find her a heart, I'll give her mine. And when the doctor come in, honest to God, Chris, I said to the heart doctor, you either get her on a heart transplant list or you're going to take mine out of my body and put it in hers.
Wow.
And he just looked at me real funny. I was only 20 years old. He looked at me real funny. Well, no, by then I was 20. It was 2 years. I was like 22. He looked at me. He said, sir, I can't do that. I said, you will do it. Or I said, I'll cut my heart out myself and lay it on the table and you can give it to her. I want her to live. And then finally they sent her home. They put her on a heart transplant list. And unfortunately, she didn't get one. But I fought as hard as I could, And I stayed in touch with her parents. Believe this. Her mom's name was Rose. I called her Granny, and her dad's name was Hank, and I called him Padiddle because he always had a hitch in his giddy up, so I called him Padiddle. Well, we after she passed on, everybody thought I'd go on with my own life and never talk to them again.
Yeah.
But you know what? Every single morning when I woke up at my apartment, I went to their house and Granny had me a cup of coffee. And I sat there and we cried together and we mourned together and we had good thoughts together, good memories of her.
Yeah.
And that's how we got through it. That's how Granny got through it. I went there every single morning and had coffee with that woman. And what broke my heart was I was living in Indiana when that woman passed, and I didn't get to come back for her funeral, and that broke my heart. Because Grandma or Granny, she was the best. She took me in and treated me like I was one of her kids. And then I married her daughter, and then her daughter passed, and she still wanted to be my friend, man, you know? And so I went there every day. And another thing is every single Saturday, their oldest daughter's husband, Jim, they would cook steaks on the grill, have the whole bit, baked potatoes, California blend, greens, biscuits. I mean, they would cook a massive dinner every Saturday. And you know who the first one Granny called? Was me. She said, dinner will be ready around 5. You get your butt over here. You can come over as early as you want, but dinner will be ready at 5. Make sure if you don't come here and eat, so I know you get at least one hot meal a week. She said, I'm going to be looking for you. By God, I went over there every Saturday, had steak dinner. They had a swimming pool. I went swimming and stuff with her kids. You know, they were adults, but we all went swimming and talked about Rebecca Lynn and all that. So that's how I coped with it. And I got Granny through it. Because if I wouldn't have, Granny could not understand why she didn't die before her daughter. Because she said, the kids aren't supposed to die before me. I'm supposed to go first. You know, because 9 times out of 10, your mother or your father passed away before you do. You know what I'm saying? And it was hard for her to grasp that she lost one of her children. But I made it easier for her by talking about it.
And that actually happened to my uncle. He ended up going on a jog with his wife in the morning, and that was their thing. They would go out and just do a little morning walk, morning jog, and then he used to always mess where he would fall over and be like, oh, you know, something's not, you know.
Just playing.
He was just playing around, and then one morning it would happen. He fell over, dropped over, and you know, my Aunt Pam, she was like, "Come on, quit playing around, Jim. Quit playing around." And he was gone.
He died right then?
Died right then.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that.
And then what my grandpa and my grandma, because that was their oldest, and my grandpa at the time, he was fighting with cancer, and he was sick. And like you said, it was hard because that was his boy, his first boy, and when it happened, he got into a depression, and then got more sick, and pretty
See,
much
that's the trouble.
that was it.
That's the trouble we're having with Missy's mom. She's given up. The little old lady used to be with us all the time. Used to talk to you, Granny,
Yeah,
Grandma. Yeah, she's given up. She's just given up. She don't want to live no more.
but what
And
you guys have to do
I
for that?
can't get it.
Sorry, go
What's
ahead.
that? I can't get it through to her that, listen, God's not ready for you yet. God doesn't want you yet. You got other stuff on this earth to do before you pass away. He doesn't want you. You know, you got to get moving. But I can't get her to do nothing. So
As it's
Missy's
written, as it's written, as it's written in the Bible, the stuff that we think of up here will come into existence out here. And that's what I was beginning to tell Missy, is you have to visualize and see in your head that she's getting better. and you have to feel that way. And as hard as it is to do that, try it. You keep doing that, and I promise you it will work. She will get better. She will become healthier, and she'll start running around being her own self again. Because
Yeah, I've
that's
been
how it
meant to
works.
talk about right after we left Walmart. We were talking about you. I'm not bad, just talking about what you said and stuff. And I said, Missy, you got to believe in the Lord, man. I told her, I said, we pray every time we pray. I'll bow my head. I'll pray before I eat or anything like that. First thing I get up in the morning, I pray to God. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity for my feet to touch this floor one more day.
The spirit of
Another
gratitude
day.
will bless you, man.
And then that's just and a lot of times, Chris, I'm gonna be honest with you. God knows I love him. He
Yeah.
knows it. Even though I don't go to church, he knows we have a good relationship, you know?
And
And yeah,
your life shows. Your life
yeah.
shows it.
And how do I want to phrase it? I believe I don't have to go to church to pray to God and believe in God and let him know that, you know, he's my savior. You know what I'm saying? I know that. And I appreciate that. But there's nothing that says I have to go to church. You know what I'm saying? And
No,
and my
here,
buddy,
hold on. Let me jump in here quick. In my honest opinion, if people really pay attention to the Bible, who is the church? Who is the temple? We the
it's his
people.
house.
We
It's the
the
Lord's
people.
house.
We are the people. We are the temple.
Right,
This is the temple.
right,
Church is really just to share your faith, to grow your faith. But
right.
God, the Holy Spirit, He's always inside of us. So
Yep.
wherever we go, that is church. Like right now,
Yeah,
this is church.
yeah, I go to I go to the Pentecostal church, Church of God, and I loved it, man. When I went there, it me and my second wife used to go there on Klein Street, and now it's uptown. Our preacher was Kenny Conley, and I loved him, man. He was awesome. And I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was sitting in that pew, I could just feel the Spirit uplifting me, and I was wanting to clap and have a good time. And then I seen people getting up out of their seats and running through the aisles, and I'm like, I looked at I looked at my wife. I'm like, oh, that lady just stood up and fell flat back on her back. Did she have a heart attack? I mean, what's going on here? And then I figured it out. She got the Spirit in her, and she was just, taking in the Spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
But I never experienced that until I went to the Pentecostal church.
The Holy Ghost, man. He does
That thing,
wonders.
when it starts coming through, man, you just get just like Christian rock or Christian rap, even. I've listened to that Christian rap, and it has such a good beat to it. You know what I'm saying? It like gets you pumped up to where, yeah, this is God talking to me now.
And
But
that's really how it works. A lot of people kind of knock on, worship music, Christian rock, Christian hip hop. But the more you listen to it, you'll find yourself in a lot better mood. You'll be more in a positive, uplifting mood, and that's because God's presence is there. You're
yep,
on that level. You're
even
connected.
my boy's right there. Even he knows it. He
Yeah,
knows the Spirit.
yeah.
Yep, he knows the Spirit. He got the Spirit in him. I'm just glad that I could raise such a great family, be there for them when they needed me and stuff.
Especially when we were sick together.
Yeah, him and I, my big one, my oldest, I should say, not my big one. I'm sorry. My oldest, we had COVID and pneumonia at the same time in two different hospitals. I was in Willard, he was in Norwalk, but we both had the same thing. And he texted me, believe this or not, he did. I didn't text him. He texted me and said, how'd you say that?
Said I'm in the hospital and
Something about go strong, be strong.
we gotta stay strong.
Oh yeah. He sent me a thing for our wrist that says stay strong. Cause like I said, we don't give up.
No,
My family will not ever give up. And I'll guarantee you that.
preach it, man. That is awesome.
So You know, we might have been in different hospitals, but we knew we had to stay strong.
Look, you
And
said
we
you were in
did.
different hospitals, but yet you guys were still connected because
Yep.
of that.
Yep. Right on Facebook. Let me tell you. Right. We were on Facebook texting each other all the time and stuff. Or not on Facebook, but I mean, text messenger. Man, we knew what each one of us were doing. When we got our shots, when we got our bedtime medicine, when we took our breathing treatments, we were there, man. What would you need? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll be done here in a little bit.
And I think all me doing all this stuff, I think I should get a good
Okay. Shoot. But anyhow, yeah, where I'm at right now, I'm happy with my life. I am. I'm happy with my life. I mean, I got family that don't even call. I got one niece, and she lost her mother, which was my sister, and she doesn't even call and check. We're 6 years apart. I don't even get a call, not ever, saying, "Hey, Uncle Larry, how you doing? Are you feeling all right? Are you taking your medicine?" I don't even get a call from her unless somebody needs something, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I got one nephew, Corey, him and his wife, well, fiance, whatever you call it. But anyhow, they check on me every day. They call me 2 or 3 times a day.
Even when we're DoorDash.
Even when I'm door dashing, I get mad. I'm like, look, you can't kick me off there. I'm dashing. Call me back later. But I'm pretty happy with the way my life, with what I have made my life. Because nobody ever gave me anything. Never. I worked for everything I own, every car I bought, every Harley I bought it. Nobody ever gave it to me. You know, like my mom would go buy me a vehicle and I'd make payment arrangements with her. I'd pay her. I'd give her, you know, if the car payment was $250 a month, I paid her $250 a month till it was paid off. But I've never had nothing actually given to me. And I don't want nothing given to me. I want to earn everything I get.
Amen. Amen.
You know, and I got it in my head. I don't care if I have to cut off DoorDash early. I'm getting back to the gym because I used to be buff and I'm getting back to the gym. I'm getting this weight off of me. It's not good for my temple and I'm getting it off.
Hey, that's what I like to hear.
I'm just not going to, I don't want nothing handed to me. I don't want nothing. I just want given to me what I worked for and I deserve. And that's it. You know?
What better way to end this podcast as we begin to wrap, as we wrap this thing up. If anybody is out there right now that wants to get a hold of you somehow because they've been touched or moved or inspired by your story, how can I reach out to you? How can I get a hold of you?
I got a cell phone number if you want it.
Do you have an email?
Yes, I do.
I'll do that instead.
You want me to give it to you?
Yep.
Larry_Thompson63@yahoo.com.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for listening. You heard the incredible. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, folks. Hearing his story.
I told you my life story from the age of about when I was 5 all the way up to where I'm at now. So I didn't keep nothing out. I didn't tell nothing that wasn't true. Man, everything that I said is true.
Without a doubt. I know whoever's watching this right now just touched you deep down inside. But know that you're not alone.
I got a cat climbing out.
He's being attacked.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to wrap this up and just say thanks for coming on, Larry, and telling your story.
Yep. You're more than welcome, and I hope I can touch some young kids out there, and they can learn from what I went through.
And they have.
So I really,
without a doubt, whoever's watching this, I know it's inspired and encouraged.
And I really appreciate you getting with me.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a pleasure to tell my life story.
It is an honor to hear it and to share it.
Well, thank you.
But anybody, if you, I'm over here tongue twister. Anybody else wants to come on and tell their story sometime, feel free to message me.
Okay. I'm thinking about having my best friend Joe come on.
He's
'Cause he'll
definitely,
tell you some stories that are, and you'll think that he's crazy, that it's not true, but it is very true. We did some crazy things. So.
all right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is Chris. Peace out.